the rarest Pokemon you could think of. Like find a Mewtwo in the wild. Like you can't. Chargers fans just don't exist. Like they're not real.
Here we are again. Great team on paper. I don't know why they drafted Mike Williams when they already have Mike Williams.
What's better than one Mike Williams?
Quentin Johnson
Mike
is
Williams.
He's a reincarnate of Mike Williams. Maybe he can stay healthy. I don't know.
I think he's a little bit. He's pretty different, like stylistically, like frame and athleticism. I think they're really similar, but he's not the aggressive downfield go up and get it guy that Mike Williams is. I don't think that's just not his play style.
I wasn't a big fan of him in this draft, going as early as he was going. He ended up going 21.
Yeah, I think 21 was fair for him. I thought the top 10 was a little much.
So 21 sounds more right, actually. I just remember all the mocks. I was like, this is not a top 10 to 14 guy.
But a guy that big, that fast ain't getting out of the first round. So that makes that tracks.
It kind of falls on Justin Herbert here. I mean, what Justin Herbert are we going to get this year? Because if he can get to what he can be, then you got a squad here. I mean, you got Rashawn Slater, one of my favorite offensive linemen in the league. Corey Linsley at center,
coming back healthy.
Center. Austin Eckler just putting up stupid numbers year after year after year, it seems like. And then
he's only good at running the football in the red zone,
though. Still good numbers. And then Everett played well for him at tight end. And then you go to defense, and this is one of those like teams where it's like you can be a casual fan and you can name 7 guys in their defense. You're like, oh, I know who that is. Eric Kendrick. Oh yeah, I know who that is. Derwin James. Oh yeah, I know who that is. Asante Samuel Jr. Oh yeah, I know who that is. Joey Bosa, Sebastian Joseph Day, Khalil Mack. I mean, they just got dudes that people know, and a lot of them are good.
Man,
or it should be good.
So I'm going to start with quarterback here. Justin Herbert, I want to give him a break, right? Fractured rib cartilage in week 2, 6 to 7 week recovery time, played through it, probably extended a little bit, tore his labrum in his non-throwing shoulder last year, had off-season surgery. I want to give him a break, but at the same time, he ranked 29th in deep accuracy last year. The year before, he ranked 4th, but as a rookie, he ranked 23rd. So I'm still questioning deep accuracy. It goes up and down year to year. Which one is more reliable? The one that he's done twice or the one that he's done once? Intermediate accuracy, ranked 21st last year, 20th the year before, 30th the year before. Again, I'm sitting here questioning, like, these numbers should be better. He is a better quarterback than that. And I'm not sure why they are so rough. I want to give him the break for that up and down play. His season was an absolute roller coaster. 7 of his 17 games last year, he had a negative EPA per play. 4 of the games, he was just average. 6 of the games, he was above average. So he was bad more often than he was above average, which is not – that is the definition of a roller coaster, right? That's like in Chicago, we called that good Rex, bad Rex. That's not the play that you're looking for. Yeah, I mean, and granted, he is not Rex Grossman in his bad days. Rex Grossman in his bad days was unholy. But anyways, I'm rooting for Herbert. I think that he is better than this. I think some of it was the offense that he was playing in. They didn't cater to his downfield passing ability, which I think is there despite the rough, deep passing and intermediate passing stats in the last few years. The arm talent's there. You watch the tape, you see it. You see what this guy can sling, how he can sling the football, and you want to believe it. But the numbers are not showing that through, and I'm not fully sure why. I think you get him in a bit more play action. He ranked 12th in play action use last year, which is solid, but 38% of his touchdown passes came on play action. He only used it 28%. Like, I feel like there's probably some disconnect there. Get some better running game around him. Like, Austin Eckler's great. He's awesome. but this offense needs a more bread and butter run game. Austin Eckler is not your bread and butter running back. Like, he's great in the red zone. Shockingly, his tiny self is great in the red zone. But outside of that, and a lot of that probably comes down to the spread concepts that they run too, with all the weapons that they do have.
Yeah,
that really helps them spread the field out and give Eckler big areas to attack. Now, one thing that I did find that was really like whoa to me with this offense, this is just a different team when Keenan Allen's on the field. Just a different offense. Weeks 2 through 10, without him, the offense was 22nd in EPA per play. Weeks 11 through 18, with him, they were 12th in EPA per play, 4th in success rate. So without him, they were 27th in success rate. With him, they were 4th.
Yeah.
That is ludicrous. That is a ludicrous gap right there.
How old is Keenan Allen? I feel like he's got to be like 37. Is he one of these guys that's like secretly like only like 31?
He's younger than you think. Like, he looks old too in his pictures.
I feel like he's just been in the league for so long.
Yeah, he has. I want to say he's like 32, 31, 32.
Let's see.
But his
31
outside of being injured last year, like
born 17 days after me.
he missed, like I said, what was it, weeks 2 through 10 last year, which, that's where the age gets you. But when he was healthy on the field, his production did not drop a bit. So I'm still as long as he's on the field, I'm a believer in the player that he is. And
remember, last offseason when I was like, he's always hurt, and you're like, yeah, people seem to think that, but he literally never misses games. And then
he missed half the season.
So jinx that. Sorry, Keenan. That's on us.
On us. Well, he missed a ton of games early in his career, and he got that reputation in like fantasy leagues and stuff of like he's always hurt. And then he played like 4 straight seasons without missing a game. This O-line, I like their starting lineup a lot, actually. I mean, I'm not big on Trey Pipkins, but he's fine at right tackle. Like, he's going to get the job done. Jamari Salyer stepped in last year at left tackle for them really well after Rashawn Slater went down. So he got kicked over to guard now, and he's starting this year. And I think that's only going to help his play.
Yeah.
Zion Johnson is probably my biggest question mark here. And you just got to trust the draft pedigree there. He had some rough times last year, but the trajectory was going up towards the end of the year for him.
So you look at the schedule. They have strength schedule at 6, which you got to play the Chiefs twice. So that's gonna really impact your strength of schedule. But very early bye week. Another one of these teams, the early bye week that I know players hate. But opening up the season, you don't play the Chiefs before your bye week, which is tough. So you got Miami, then at Tennessee, at Minnesota. I think both of those are winnable games. Then Raiders, winnable game. I could see them 3-1, but brutal stretch coming off the bye. You got Dallas coming to LA, probably be like home game for Dallas. I mean, I don't think the Charger fan in the world can hold it down over there in SoFi. But then you got to go to Kansas City. Then Chicago comes in, which even if they're not good, Justin Fields is going to just give your defense absolute hell. And then after that, you got to go to New York and then back home to Detroit. Like, that's a brutal stretch coming off a bye. A brutal 4-game stretch, and then you still have the rest of your season after that. Like, the schedule makers did absolutely no favors whatsoever for this team.
Yeah, it's tough. It is just this is just a brutal schedule for them.
Then you end at home against Kansas City. It's like, so the only thing good about Kansas City being your last game is that there's a good chance they have the division wrapped up and you're fighting for a playoff spot, and maybe they beat you out of spite so you don't make the playoffs. Or hopefully that best case scenario for the Chargers, the Chiefs have nothing to play for week 17.
Man, I don't know. I'm just skeptical on this roster. I'm not going to lie. This defense feels so top heavy. and just extremely reliant on Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and Asante Samuel.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa hasn't been healthy for even most of a season. It feels like
Khalil
in a few
Mack wasn't-
years.
Khalil Mack.
I'd have to
wasn't
double check that
Khalil
number,
Mack
but
last year.
yeah, when Mack and Bosa were on the field together, they were pretty darn good, but they weren't on the field together very often.
Yeah.
And really, I look at this interior D line, and I don't see anyone who I'm confident at being a plus starter.
No. And funny thing about this team, or the quarterback position, remember, like, immediately after, everybody was like, oh, Herbert over Tua, like, can't believe that was ever debated. Herbert's so much better, blah, blah, blah. And, like, now we're, 3 years in, and it's like, Tua's pretty freaking good. And Herbert is a roller coaster. So it's like, was it the steal of the century like it was brought up to be like a year?
I think it's never as bad as it's made out to be. It's never, and it's never as good as made out. Like, it's always more in the middle. Like, I'd probably still.
I think both teams are still
of
happy.
the two, but like, it's
I don't think Miami still like holds any regret over taking Tua, and I don't think the Chargers are like, oh man, like, I wish Tua would have fell to us and they took Herbert. I mean, I feel like both teams are happy with who they got, but I just remember like that first couple seasons, everybody is like, oh my God, can you believe the Dolphins passed on Herbert? Like, what an idiot franchise. And it's like, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad.
I'm willing to bet some of that was Dolphin scouts leaking it.
Yeah, probably.
Because there were that room was pretty divided. If memory serves correct.
But you look at my stats with Tua on the field, and it's like, oh, yeah, he's that dude.
Yeah. Now, my big question for this Chargers team is, how are they going to stop the run? This was the worst run defense, one of the bottom 3 run defenses in the NFL last year.
And you got 2 teams in the division that I would assume Broncos are going to try to run the ball.
Yeah.
And Raiders definitely going to be running the ball.
Yeah.
So you got 4 guaranteed games of people wanting to run the ball within the division. And the Chiefs may fuck around one week and be like, hey, we're gonna run the ball 27 times today because nobody thinks we'll do that.
Well, and I'm just not sure that they have the personnel to play. We don't care if you run the ball. You're not going to pass on us football. Like, the pass rushers are there if they're healthy in Mack and Bosa. But, like, that's the big question there.
Derwin James is one of the best safeties in the NFL when he's healthy. But, I mean, he hasn't really stayed healthy.
James I feel like he's more of a Swiss Army knife than a guy that you really want to just say this half of the field is you. Like, or this quarter of the field, we're going to condense it down for you and you're going to get a bunch of interceptions. Like, I don't think that's the player he is. I think he's an outstanding football player, but I think it's just a different role that you tend to play him in.
Travis Kelce's worst nightmare.
Yeah. Well, and really the thing that gets me is this cornerback room. And it's the big wild card here. You can get past the run defense just being bad and having a scheme that you're saying, run it all you want on us, we don't care, because you have a quarterback who is really talented. And if J.C. Jackson is anything close to what you paid for, you can do that. But if he's not, this all gets really
have him on really
quickly. No, he did. He was benched last year, and then he got hurt.
Oh, I thought he was still hurt.
He's recovering. He should be ready for camp, is what I read. But Michael Davis came in and played pretty darn well in his stead last year. But the other big question here is Michael Davis doesn't play nickel. J.C. Jackson doesn't play nickel. You have 3 outside corners, and Jasir Taylor is your starting nickel right now and largely unproven. Only played 17% of the snaps last year. And you really have very little behind those 4 guys. Like, I can see this getting ugly really quick for them on defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, thing about the Chargers is always about health. I don't know if it's cursed or what, but nobody on this team can stay healthy. Rashawn Slater went down last year. Keenan Allen went down last year. Joey Bosa went down last year. I don't know if Derwin James went down, but I feel like he goes down every year. As good of a player as he is.
He's been pretty healthy. He played 80% of the snaps last year.
Okay. So, yeah, he's coming into his own there. Santa Samuel either got hurt last year or his rookie year? Or was
His
last
rookie
year?
year, he played 93% of the snaps last year.
Okay, so he's starting to stay a little bit healthy. But, I mean, it just Chargers are going to Charger. So, I mean, looking at the one total, 9.5 seems super high. If I'm forced to take this, I'm taking the under. I think 8 to 9 wins is perfect for this team.
The big elephant in the room with them is that's a lot of weapons on offense. If Justin Herbert is who we all think he is, it might not matter, but he needs to prove that he's that.
Yeah, and I've been waiting on Josh Kelly to break out for what seems like a decade now. Yeah, I know it's not that long, but like, good thing I'm not. I just joined my first dynasty league this year because the last 4 years I probably would have given up so much for Josh Kelly being the next guy in LA.
How about Isaiah Spiller?
What?
How about Isaiah Spiller?
That too. I mean,
You liked him too.
Yeah, I always like those potential guys in LA. But yeah, it gotta stay healthy. Eckler is I don't know. I mean, it's tough, man. Good team on paper.
Yeah,
they're in a
cover. I mean, this offense: Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett. That scares NFL defenses. Justin Herbert has everything he needs as long as they stay healthy, which is just again the big question.
It's the Charger curse. So sorry to the Charger fan out there. I'm taking under on wins. I'm taking no on the playoffs. Well, at minus 120, I probably won't take no in the playoffs, but I don't think they make the playoffs. And I'm taking under on wins. Not because I don't think they're good enough to win more than 9.5 games, and not that I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs or win the division, but Chargers are going to Charger. That's all there is to it.
I'm with you. I could see them at 9 wins, and that I can really see them at 9 wins, and that like
I think
if I'm taking anything, it's under, but I'm just not really touching.
I could like I said about the Broncos, I can see 9 wins making the playoffs, and I can see the Chargers. Let's see, going down the schedule, tying the Raiders like week 16, who look to be one of the worst teams in football, and having 8.5 wins. And missing the playoffs because they tied the Raiders, who might only have 2 wins on the season.
I feel a lot more like
that feels right.
Yeah, I feel it's a lot more likely that this is the year that Brandon Staley gets the boot as opposed to gets a contract extension. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it's trending the wrong direction for him, and it gets harder and harder to turn that around, I think. And not say he can't, because he can, but like he's got to do it.
You got to do it.
Obvious.
They'll go hire Lincoln Riley. He doesn't got to move.
Yeah, there you go.
Just trying to get
Cliff is OC.
Run it back, boys.